What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today's video topic is actually wild. More wild than I was expecting, and surprisingly, I didn't see this whatsoever through Twitter or anything. Realistically, if content creators didn't come out and start discussing this stuff, I would have probably completely missed out. But after seeing what I saw, I think I have to do my part and share this to the rest of the community so you guys can see with your own eyes and, of course, come up with your own personal conclusions. But to me personally, after what I witnessed, it's not looking too good when it comes to how skill-based matchmaking is acting and how people are going to be playing Call of Duty, basically current date and going into the near future. But ladies and gentlemen, before we go ahead and dive deep, if you guys are interested in more content just like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern time. And also, last but not least, we do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch. And there's actually going to be a quote-unquote, according to Treyarch, a big update dropping today that's going to be covering a few things. So fingers crossed, it's actually a big update like they claim, but, we'll see once they release the patch notes and stuff like that, and we'll test it out within the game. So if you guys are interested, you want to hang out with me, I'll be seeing what this new update is about today over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let us go ahead and discuss skill-based matchmaking within Call of Duty. Now, for those who don't know, I actually found this out through the exclusive Ace. There is a website out right now, which I will go ahead and leave a link to that down in the description of this video. Personally, I didn't have enough time to complete it for my own personal stats because, again, like I said, I figured this information out extraordinarily late, and there's, once again, a big update dropping today, so I just want to discuss this as soon as possible. But man, oh man, you guys are going to be blown away with how much information is taken into account throughout all these years of your experience within Call of Duty. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see right here, this is what's going to pop up when you go into the link to find your stats within the skill-based matchmaking bracket. And when you log in, of course, it's a safe site. This is through the Activision page. I mean, I don't know if you really want to trust Activision Blizzard, but again, if you want to, go ahead and do so. It's going to take a little time, potentially. Exclusive Ace said it took him almost a day to get his data back to him. So who knows how long it's going to take for you. But if you do this, you will then be able to see your stats across the board being tracked from Vanguard up to current date within Call of Duty. Yes, you heard that correctly. And not just stats, but every single match you have played in a public lobby. It is absolutely insane to see. Now, for me personally, honestly, I think the stats are pretty cool to witness and to see, your curve over time and to, see how you've been progressing. But at the end of the day, this to me personally just shows a bit further into the problems of the matchmaking bracket and why it's so thick current day, and why a lot of us who, might take a little bit of a break or, might take a week off, a month off, or even skip a whole game and then return and it's just as sweaty as, the day that you left. This is why it does not track per game. It tracks for all of the experiences, like I said, from Vanguard up to current date, a skill rating, KD, all of the above. This system right here compiles absolutely everything. Now, again, a lot of people are going to say, well, it's not really anything wrong with that, and I agree. I agree to a certain extent because I love leaderboards. I love tracking my stats, and, in games like Infinite Warfare, for example, or other Call of Duty titles like Modern Warfare 3, the OG, where you could actually have a public leaderboard and see everybody in your game and what their stats are, where they rank where, and, all that good stuff. I always found that extremely fun to track. So don't get me wrong, it's extremely cool to see. But again, knowing the matchmaking that's behind Call of Duty, it kind of makes sense now, right? It connects to why we are getting a constant sweaty experience, especially if you are a player who has stuck around with the Call of Duty franchise for a long time now. It doesn't cut any breaks. It tracks every last bit of your performance, and it will pick you back up exactly where you left off. Again, on this public site here from Activision, you could see everything from Vanguard up to current date, but that does not mean that they don't have everything before Vanguard as well. Who's to say that they don't have Black Ops Cold War or Modern Warfare 2019 or even the games before the Call of Duty HQ? We have no clue what stats they're going based off of. We're just taking exactly what they are willing to go ahead and give us. But as I was saying, this pairs perfectly with the matchmaking algorithm. It makes all the sense to why, like I said before, you leave the game, you leave the experience, you could be gone for months, and then you come right back in and you instantly have to sweat. This is probably one of the biggest core problems here. In my opinion, it might have been better to, obviously critique each individual player based off of the game itself, whether it was Vanguard specifically, or, Modern Warfare 2 2022 specifically, or Modern Warfare 3 2023 specifically. But instead, it's kind of a constant flow of tracking your stats. And yeah, you might fluctuate higher or lower in different games as you keep going on here. But it's not like, I start off with Modern Warfare 2 2022 after a year of them tracking my Vanguard stats, and I pop off, I get like a 30 KD in my first game, and now my stats are through the roof. No, it's going to average it into the overall, portfolio that I have behind the scenes with Activision. And they're going to constantly, fluctuate my matches based off of what I had before. Or let's say I come into the game as well, and I start off and I do horrible within the experience. Once again, it's just going to kind of average it in. So even if I'm doing horrible and I should be getting thrown easier lobbies, it's going to take a long time for that to happen. I'm going to have to really get my crap stomped in for ages, because once again, if I was good in the previous Call of Duty games, it's still going to take those games into consideration, and it's going to force me into, once again, sweaty lobbies. But again, I know people are going to say this might be a bunch of BS, and it is what it is. Everybody has their own opinions, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comment section. But what really rubs me in the wrong direction with all of this data here is actually something that the exclusive Ace has found out through his, data collecting. But he has noticed during certain periods of his time where he's backing out a lot, for example, and he has to, track stats by doing something quickly, leave the game, go back in, do something quickly, leave the game, go back in, so on and so forth. He actually came to the conclusion that your skill rating actually drastically, and when I say drastically, I mean it drastically drops when you are backing out of lobbies. So if you are sticking in the games and you're playing them through how, we all grew up knowing how to play Call of Duty, actually grinding through the process, taking the L's, getting your butt whooped, and becoming better at the game, that is, that's not going to change your stats as much compared to actually just saying, okay, I don't want to play this, I'm leaving the game. And it dumps. When I say it dumps, I mean it dumps your skill rating into the dirt, which actually proves a point here that if you do leave games more consistently, you will be presented with better lobbies. And it's funny because if you look around Reddit a lot or on social media, you're starting to see this become a common saying. I see it everywhere. People are preaching that you should leave games. You're not having a good time? Get out of the match. Like I said before, back in the OG days, that was frowned upon. If you are getting whooped, you should, take it and learn from it. Don't be a wuss, stick it out and, grind on through. If you don't want to verse them again, back out afterwards, but grind the match. Now, everybody's mentality is don't bother with it. You're being manipulated. The matches are rigged. Just back out of it if you're not having fun and find a match that suits you better. That's the current day mentality. But again, it works, and there's a reason why people are saying this, and there's a reason that people are feeling this, because it's true. If you do back out, you will indeed, after a certain amount of matches of backing out, be granted with a nice casual game that will probably better suit the mood that you're in, because once again, when you back out, you're tanking your stats. When you stick in the game and you get whooped, you're not. You're not tanking your stats whatsoever. Even if you perform semi-poorly, it's not doing that much. You back out of that game, guess what? In a few more back out matches, you're going to get a solid match more than likely. But that right there, to me personally, is the biggest issue with all of this stuff. Forget about tracking your stats and stuff like that and keeping your stats together across all these multiple titles. I mean, yeah, it's rough and all, and it's probably why a lot of the time you can't hop back into the game after taking a month break and, get something casual. You have to get right back into the same sweaty matchmaking. But I genuinely think the biggest problem here is that right there in fine details, we can see the statistics that if you leave the game, your skill rating gets tanked. And that right there to me proves that we are pushing towards the hand-holding era of gaming. We're no longer in the era where people do want to improve at the game. You get thrown into the random mix of everybody. You have your bad games, you have your good games, and people actually want to try to get better. We are now in the era of gaming where people want to get that quick fix, and that's it. Log in, get your handheld, have some quote-unquote bots thrown at you and get your streaks instead of actually going into a private match and versing bots. They want those easy games. They don't want to have to work towards anything to get better and get better streaks and to perform better in the lobbies and get, higher scores. No, forget that noise. They want you. They are encouraging you at this point to back out to get those easier lobbies. Either that or you grind on through the rough matches, and over time you will eventually dump your skill rating enough that you can find a casual game. But overall, none of this, in my opinion, should be relevant. It's cool that it tracks your stats. I think that's great, and it's cool, for any statistic type of people to be able to see how they're doing in the game. But when it's paired with the skill-based matchmaking system, the EOMM that we have current day in Call of Duty, that's where the biggest problem starts to begin. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. We post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. Like I said earlier, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch starting around 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find a link to that channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you all on the next one. Peace out.